What's going on, everybody? It's Carlos, your host of the Bring on the Blitz podcast. I'm here with my co-host Papi. How's it going, Papi?
What's good? What's good, brothers?
There you go. There you go. And of course, the one and only Rios is in the house as well. Rios, how's it going, bud?
Going pretty good, man. I'm excited for this next chapter.
Exactly. Same here. Hey, man, if you in case you guys don't know, we are the boys from the Just Fans podcast here in a new platform, working with our Esquina podcast network, and we're very grateful to be with them. This podcast here is dedicated to talk about the Houston Texans, whether it's news, players, you name it, jerseys, uniform reveal, like we're going to be talking about. So hey, basically tonight's episode, the first episode, we will be talking about the Texans uniform reveal that's happening. Also, some of the jerseys that got leaked, how close are they probably to the real thing? And of course, we will be talking about the Texans draft, all and more right after these announcements. Check them out. Hey guys, welcome back. So, without any further ado, let's talk a little bit of Texans uniforms. So, there's been so many leaks, and it was bound to happen really right before the actual release date. We saw different variations. I feel like it all started with the photo that was released about that guy that basically didn't even look like a player at the warehouse.
It looked like a meme. It looked like a kicker they got off a high school team.
Exactly. It looked like a kicker. It was so
not even the kicker,
random.
The backup kicker.
Yeah, it looked like a backup kicker because it didn't even fit. It looks like somebody like from Pee Wee football trying on like a middle school uniform. It didn't really fit well or whatnot. So ever since that came out, people online were like, what is this? Is this the real thing? So there was some doubt and speculation. And Cal McNair in True Nature, went on Reddit and actually released the uniform, like so people could actually see the uniform. And I thought it was it's one of those things where, hey, let's control what comes out, which is fine, which is what you would do normally. So I personally thought the uniforms, the white uniforms that they released, the away uniforms, are an upgrade over what they had before. I mean, if you think about it, it's been since the beginning, since they've had any uniform changes. You see other teams and they go, during the season they go through their like a throwback uniform. Well, the Texans don't really have a throwback uniform, at least until now.
Same one since 2002, basically. There's maybe a few minor changes, like the Texans logo on the back of the nameplate, but other than that, it's been pretty much the same thing since the inception of the team.
Right, exactly. So what I'm thinking in this case is from the leaks or the, at least for this one that came out, that Cal McNair, the owner of the Texans, confirmed with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, when they came out in that picture, like it on the away with the away uniforms. I thought they were fun. They were great. I liked them.
On the actual players. It looked a lot more cleaner.
It did.
Like, you could see exactly what they were trying to go for.
Right. Exactly.
And there's only so much you can do with like a football jersey, to be honest. Like, unless you take it in a completely different direction, which I don't think the Texans are gonna quite do. We've seen some of the leaks, like you said, like some of the alleged, possible like combinations, color schemes, and all that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But at least the ones that came out right after the first wave of leaks, those actually look pretty decent, in my opinion.
Yeah. And we're seeing. Go ahead, Riz. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they said there's going to be 4 distinct ones. The ones that came out, the white ones, is the traditional but modernized. And then
they look a little bit more modern. Yeah, correct.
Right.
Like the font and the color scheme and the horns on the side, like it's a little bit more modernized. And they did come out with the league, what the home jersey is going to look like as well, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But
no, definitely. So the color schemes that we have seen so far in the leaks or whatnot, the thing is nobody's really able to take it seriously, I guess, because you don't how can I put this? It's not official. It's not. It hasn't been confirmed, and it's not official. Then the other day, 2 days ago, somebody from who either was working at Red or working at the company that makes the helmets, or somebody who was just working in a warehouse,
Yeah.
released the took took video of the I guess the third installment of the Texans helmet, the
Yeah.
one.
With the H on the side. Yeah.
Right, and then
The
as you analyze the picture a little more, like you see like there's like the Texans logo is basically the color that we have here in our background a little bit, in that color scheme of blue and a little bit of red, just like we have in our scheme, in our little background here. And so it was like a mixture of those. So it almost like a tribute to, I mean, I don't want to say tribute to like the Oilers or whatnot. It's more like, for the city of Houston or whatnot.
Yeah.
H-Town Blue, as they're calling it. And if you're wondering what's H-Town Blue, well, if you look at at the Houston flag, it's that color. That's the color of the flag. So it's tradition. It's in honor of that tradition or whatnot. And
Yeah,
so
there's a little bit of history there.
right, exactly.
the flag, the old cop cars, the
Mhm.
street sign numbers. That's
Yeah.
shade of blue, basically.
Right. And so the uniforms will get released. I guess I'm wondering like how close there is a rendition, the H-Town Blue, which was almost it's as blue as this one, and then there's two versions of it. And the only reason why I don't want to put it on is because nothing's official, it's just all speculation.
Correct.
And
And
so,
that's like one of the most fun things about the
right.
whole, like, you know, off season stuff, when they're starting to leak stuff, allegedly, right? Like you
Right.
you never know which one is what, or what's going on, but you get to see a lot of people's like creativity come to light.
Yes.
And then it
Coming to
makes
play.
you wonder. I'm like, oh, it'll be sick if my team actually, went with this color scheme, or went with this design, or like this little rebrand or whatever.
Mhm.
Because like we know the Texans, we're gonna have a white jersey, we're gonna have a navy blue, we're gonna have a red jersey. Like, what can we expect from the Texans that would be unexpected? Like, what if they go like in a different direction? And we saw that, like that helmet that allegedly got leaked from the warehouse video,
Mhm.
something that we haven't seen before. And I want to see what your thoughts are on that. If it turns out to be like the actual thing, like I don't
Right.
know what you guys
So,
think of it.
right. So
Well, I
there was
think
there was mixed
I think
reactions, right? In the
All
on
over the
Twitter.
place, all over Twitter,
Like,
all over
yeah.
X. It was like a little over the place. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I just want to see what you guys think.
Sure. Rios, go for it, dude.
I think, yeah, I think some people, like myself personally, like I think I want to see it with like the actual jersey it's going to go with. More, I like I like the fact that it's different than what they've had before. Because we've had the same helmet since their inception. Just recently last season they introduced the red helmets, which were a big hit with the
I
fan
love them.
base.
Yeah, I love those. Yeah.
The red helmets look great. Oh, are you still talking? I'm sorry, Rios, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, it's something new, and regardless of what they did, there's going to be certain people that don't like it because they don't like change, and there's those that it's kind of like a wait and see just to see how it looks with the whole combo. I'm kind of in that camp. I'm waiting to see how it looks with with the new, I guess, the H-Town blue variation jersey.
What would you say are your
Yeah.
like your only based on the helmet and on the little design of the H or whatever? What were your first impressions though?
I thought it was definitely different. Like I said, we're just used to having the Toro head on the side, and seeing something different now. It's because it took a little getting used to. Like when I first saw it, it's one of like I was like, "There's no way this is real." But then like they basically not. I want to say they pretty much confirmed that that's going to be the third variation of the helmet.
Right. What about you, Carlos?
So what I liked about that one, I was one of those people that actually saw that actually liked the H on there. It's an old English font, H.
Yeah.
The only thing where I think some people took it, from what I was reading, some people took it into like, they could have hit or miss with a star that's on there, which is basically the Texans eye, the eye just in red. I was okay. I was fine with it. I'm one of those that actually did enjoy the logo. I was like, okay. And then even seeing perhaps the variation that is going to go with the H-Town blue uniform or whatnot. I feel like that would be a very good combination. So it all just depends on what variation of the uniform. If supposedly it's like the blue that we have, like a little bit darker blue, like the navy blue, and then supposedly on one of the variations, the outline of the numbers in the inside look like the lighter blue that we have here on our color scheme and our backdrop, right? That's one of the variations. However, there's been some other like quote unquote leaks again that show the same dark blue covering the full uniform, both the jersey and the pants, and then instead of the number on the front and the back being this color, this lighter color here, the H-Town blue color. It's red with the outline of the H-Town
blue.
blue.
So, yeah, it's like the blue and red like accent on there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I like. Say it again.
They kind of look like the two versions of the leaks that we've seen so far. One has the red lettering, the other one has the blue lettering.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
See what I'll say about the helmet and the design, like first impression for me, like the very first impression, I would say that I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I feel like the English font, I guess like it didn't really grab me. It almost gives me like that. What is it? Rangers logo from last year.
Oh, you're talking about the one they have in their jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, their City Connect jersey.
Yeah, the City Connect, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, or like kind of like the Detroit Tigers like logo, like that, like that really weird font. It didn't really grab me. I really like the H on there, like H-Town and all that. The color scheme looks good. It's just I feel like kind of like Rios said, I feel like it's gonna take me some time to get used to it. I wish it almost looks almost like a high school or like a college helmet.
Oh, is that okay? I see what you're saying.
So like it doesn't scream at me like, oh, this is a Texans helmet type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not like when you see like a Vikings helmet, like that's the Vikings. Like when you see like the Chargers, like this one doesn't scream Houston at me, but it might just once I see it with the whole thing, I might change my mind. Just first impressions, it didn't grab me, I would say.
It kind of reminds me of the Rice helmet because they use the same type of lettering on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird. It's just
I'm okay with it. I think what they're gonna do is in to agree with you on that one, Papi. I think it'll grow on me as well. In that aspect, I think no matter what uniform, whenever there's a uniform release, you're always gonna see an outcry of people. I think, as you said earlier, Papi, you're gonna see people that don't like the change, or Rios, one of you guys said it, that don't like to embrace the change of it. So it's going to be immediate critique. However, the uniform is there to stay. That's why they do have like 4 different variations. In case you don't like that one, hey, good, look at that. You have 3 different other variations.
Spend all your money on these other ones.
Right, exactly. Right. You have the other ones and it's almost like there's one for everybody. And I think that's what the theme that the Texans are trying to go. One for everybody. If this isn't your taste, guess what? There are 3 other uniforms that you can pick from. They have the traditional. I think the main one that they're going to wear, like kind of like that they wear now, is a traditional, which has had, again, from the leaks that we've seen, they're not official, obviously. They look like they've done some upgrades on them, but we won't find out for sure until they're actually released. And definitely, I mean, whenever you do like a uniform change, you're always going to have the comment, these look like XFL uniforms, or these look like you name it. That's always going to be the college or whatever, or arena. Like everybody's always going to say it. They did it today with the Denver Broncos when they released those uniforms. Some people liked them, some people didn't like them. But after a while, it's just going to be. It's going to be, how do you call it? It's going to grow on people, and it's
going to get accepted by everybody.
And that's all it is. Yeah, it's going to grow.
And I'm happy that they're trying something different. Like in other Houston teams. Some of my favorite jerseys tend to be like either the throwback or the alternate like type of jersey. With the Rockets, I love when they go back to the Hakeem Olajuwon days.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they go the retros, or like a couple of seasons ago, they went all baby blue with the big H down on the front. I was like, oh, that's something I would love the Texans to try something different. I know the Rockets this year and last year they went with like the old like white and green.
Yeah.
The San
The
Diego
San
days.
Diego Rockets or whatnot, right?
Yeah, so it's just something like, oh, like if the Texans were to do this, the Astros was the Space City City Connects.
Yeah.
One,
And I
one of
think
my favorite jerseys, honestly. The whole uniform, I'm still hit or miss, but the jersey itself, I love it. So I'm just glad that the Texans are trying something different. Like I said, the logo with the H, we'll see how that looks on the players when it looks with the whole uniform. But I'm just happy the Texans are doing something different, man.
same. Any final thoughts on the uniform, Rios?
So I would. So Antonio Brown's actually been pretty spot on with his leaks because like he can leak the one for the Denver Broncos, and it's, I mean, a few minor details here and there, but it's pretty much what he released, and then the same thing with the Texans. His version of the leak, it's similar to the one that they showed in Detroit with they have the what are they
The
like
display
the
or
dummies
what?
basically. Yeah, the display. They got the those mannequins with the display jerseys on, and it's pretty spot on. Like the collars, like the same as the one that Antonio Brown put out there, has the Texans logo on the sleeves. It's pretty similar to what he had released, but again, it hasn't been confirmed. Maybe it's just a placeholder, but we'll find out tomorrow at 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was about to say what time. So 10 in the morning.
They announced that it was at 10 in the morning on Tuesday when they were gonna do it the 23rd.
Yeah,
You guys,
apparently.
do you guys think you guys are going to buy any of the new jerseys this year?
It'll most likely it's just gonna depend on like which one. Like I said, I like the H-Town blue one, so I think that one, regardless of which color scheme that I've seen, I've liked both of the leagues. So
I'm gonna get. I'm if I don't get the away white one, I just want to see whether or not it's gonna have the red and blue accents like on everything else.
Yeah.
But if I don't get the away white one, I don't know. Maybe I get the red one, man. You don't see a lot of the red ones out and about.
So the reason why I like the white one, with the since we've had the white one, I've the red was never grew on me with the red numbers. It never grew on me, and then
I can see that.
with the white one that we've traditionally had, and the blue name, and then the red numbers and the blue navy blue outline didn't really grow on me as much. With this one, with the blue numbers and the red outline and the red name, I like it. I really do. I like the white one. Well, anyway, to end that part, one of the reasons why it's apparent that the Texans needed some change is D'Amico Ryans today came out on one of the media press release, and he said, I tried out I was trying out the uniform, and I realized that these are the same uniforms I was playing in that these guys are playing, and so it was definitely a time for a change.
Yeah.
So
the only thing that's changed is just the people that make them, because first it was Reebok and now it's Nike's for the last I want to say like about 10 years or so.
Correct. Since 2012, I think, is when the Nike thing came over. Yeah, so it's been about 12 years now. So
yeah, we're excited. We're excited, man. Like,
it's definitely, if you're a fan, if you're a fan, it's definitely that time where how do you call it? Where you look at this, a lot of teams are doing it as well too. I think the Jets were doing it. Who else? Denver. I think the Browns did slight changes to them or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was several teams that had not major upgrades. I think the teams with the major upgrades would be Houston, the Broncos, and the Jets. As far as like major redesigns, as far as the color scheme.
I feel like the Jets kind of needed it. I really like the green on black thing they got going on over there.
Yeah, it's nice. It really is.
And the Broncos are bringing back their throwbacks from the '80s, which I think they should make their permanent home one, because
that blue that they have on the '80s one is actually looks pretty nice. I will say that.
Like that's a classic look, and with the old school logo on the side, like that's that should be their main primary jersey for home games, but it looks like they're just gonna have it maybe once or twice a year.
That works. All right. So coming up next, we will be talking about what are our predictions of some draft names that the Texans might get at the 42 spot and at the 59th. All and more when we come back from after our sponsors. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna talk
You don't
about
have
a
to
few names.
sound too excited. You don't have to sound super excited when you cut a
Welcome back,
commercial.
y'all. No,
You're like,
so
we'll see you guys after this commercial.
yeah,
Hey,
we'll see
what's
you.
up, guys? We're back.
What's up, y'all?
And we're back.
And what's that thing from South Park? And it's gone. No. All right, so I have some names down, and I want to hear what you guys think. It's very, at this position, the Texans traded down to the second round at the 42nd pick and the 59th pick, and so right at this position, this it can get a little complex with what names we're gonna get or who might even be picked. So at this point, in reality, it's all just kind of speculation, right? So there are some names that have been thrown around.
But let me ask you this,
Sure.
and before you continue, the I feel like the great thing about this, and we don't think there's gonna be any more trades on draft night
No.
for us. Like I think,
I have a scenario. Well, I'll get into it
okay,
a little
Sure.
bit. I
we'll
have
get
a
into that. I can actually see a trade happening. I feel like the Miko and Nick Casario might pull something. Might just be me like overanalyzing
There, yeah,
stuff.
there's possibilities. I mean, even on Twitter, I kept seeing today that people. I mean, again, it's all spec.
Yeah,
That people wanted to use Stephon Diggs as a trade bait to get into different rounds or whatnot. I mean, again, this is all speculation, of
yeah,
course.
and I feel like that would be
So
a bit too crazy. But
yeah, and so there's one scenario, but Rios, I'm looking forward to hearing from yours. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
but
So
what do
go
you
ahead.
think? What do you think the biggest position needs are before we jump into names? Because
Sure.
I was looking at a few,
Hmm.
and I just want to hear what you guys got. Because I
well,
believe
okay.
our main, now that we got Diggs, right, and I didn't think wide receiver was something that we needed to look into, but with Diggs, that kind of like shuts it down completely. I feel like on the offensive side of things, it's really just the O line, and on the defense, you could basically pick any position, and you could say that we need an upgrade. I feel like we need corners, safeties. The whole secondary needs a little bit of an upgrade, and the D line a little bit as well.
So I
Uh,
was thinking corners in my end because I was originally full, like I'm trying to go for a defensive lineman for like the longest, as I analyze it more and I look into it, I feel like corner or safety is the
it's
bigger
like the
priority
biggest
for
priority.
for the Texans, and that's just my feeling. And then defensive lineman or something like that. That's just in my order. So I would say corner or safety on that 42nd pick, and then something in the defensive line or defensive tackle. That's on mine. And Papi, what you said yours already? I'm sorry, right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I haven't drawn any names, but I'm curious to see because there was only one corner
Positional.
that I was looking into that I was like, I would really love this guy,
Okay.
but I wonder what you guys think about it. But you go
Okay.
first.
So, yeah.
Go,
So
go ahead.
Rios, let's go with positional needs. So I already mentioned mine. Papi, you said yours. Rios, what are your positional needs first before we actually start going into names?
Corner. You need to because Akuda. I don't know. He's kind of a reclamation project, and he was the number 3 overall pick a few years ago. Not really sure, if he doesn't have a stranglehold in the starting position, and this is a pretty deep draft for corners. So I would say definitely corner,
Hmm.
and then defensive tackle.
Okay. So I think we're all kind of almost in unison. Doesn't that either corner or defensive tackle is definitely primary pick. So all right, I'm gonna go with a few names. I'm gonna choose my top three. This is my 42nd pick, and I think at 42nd, I think the Texans are gonna go for a corner or a safety. Okay. In my opinion, I think the safety position is one of desperate need. Um, and so if I were the Texans and I chose a safety, I would really, really look into Tyler Nubin. Okay, Tyler Nubin last season had 34 solo tackles, one forced fumble, 5 interceptions, and 5 pass deflections. Um, the thing about Tyler Nubin that stood out to me is basically like when he's in the box, he does a very good job of like using his hands to take blocks, and he uses his strength really well. Um, he's basically a ball hawk, but he does have the ability to, like, in case there's like a deep pass or whatever, he can basically split the safety look as well. So he's a pretty good deep ball defender as well. Um, the negatives that have came for it, there is a little bit of choppy footwork in him, um, and a little bit of limited range on the field. But he's better when he comes from the slot and underneath coverage. Is basically his best. But man, he's honestly he. I could see him as one of the top picks for Houston or whatnot in this draft. Another one that I'm looking at is the Texans have actually been in talks with this guy, Javon Bullard, 5'11", 195 pounds, 56 tackles, two interceptions, excuse me, and five pass block defenders. He's a ball hawk as well, and I think when I say ball hawk, I'm looking into these safeties in how they would fit well with a D'Amico Ryan's defense. We saw. I feel like it's almost like trying to not replicate, but like it's almost like that defense that the Texans had back in 2011, 2012, where like they were pretty well safety oriented or whatnot, and they were ball hawks. So honestly, Javon Bullard, I think fits that description. Excuse me. So, one of the things that I also liked about uh, Javon is the fact that he's very athletic. He has great football IQ and is very good ball skills. He tracks the ball well in the air, and he's able to high point it really well and undercut routes as well. So that to me that stands out for Javon Bullard. And like I said, it seems like there was again these are all speculations that the Texans we're really into Javon as well. And finally, as far as for corners on the 42nd pick, so I've named two safeties. This one here stands out as well for me. TJ Tampa. TJ Tampa out of Iowa State. He's now the thing about TJ Tampa, he's a little bit more in the taller side. He's 6'2", weighs about 200 pounds. So he's obviously a longer corner. He's a bit slower at times, but I mean, he's pretty good at zone coverage. So basically, his length and size are really good for the corner position. The long arms. He plays really good positioning, throughout his routes or whatnot, and he uses his hands well to disrupt receivers or whatnot. And the only thing that I read that he could be a little bit lazy at times. Again, this is what I read the Bleacher Report. He's good. He has really good physicality, but tackling isn't always like a wrap up or whatnot, and secures the tackle well. And so sometimes he tends to take some unnecessary risk on the ball. So that's the only downside to him. But again, this is based off of college, and once a player goes into the next level, a lot of those things can be tweaked or whatnot. So those are my top three corners for the 42nd pick for me. So I'm gonna see if any of those matched up with you guys or whatnot.
So let me talk about, because as far as corners, nobody really caught my eye as much as TJ. So we agree on that. I feel like Stingley, as good as he was last year, he's a little bit undersized in a lot of the matchups, and I feel like we do need some height over in that secondary. And like you said, like tackling might not be his forte, but when the ball is playing in the air, like he doesn't get like mismatch all quite often. So I feel like it will be fantastic. And having somebody like D'Amico as a head coach, like he makes his players play better. We saw a lot of that last year. So especially defensively. So I feel like any concerns about his work rate and stuff like that, I feel like working with D'Amico, I feel like all that's gonna get squashed. I feel like TJ Tampa is, out of all the corners that I saw, because a lot of the corners are a little bit undersized. I know even though they're still very deep, if he's still there at the 42 pick, I feel like he would be my pick for that. I didn't look at a lot of safeties. I know it's like a position in need as well, but like I said, nothing was really catching my eye. I feel like you couldn't go wrong with a bunch of the guys that are around that area. One of the guys I was really looking into is on the offensive side of the ball. He's a tackle. from Houston, Patrick Paul.
Okay.
And the guy looks like a straight up beast. 6'7" with a huge wingspan. Helps on the running side of the ball like a lot. And I feel like on this offensive line, we need to protect CJ as much, because as good as CJ is with his feet, he's not like Josh Allen level. He's not like making plays like crazy like 90% of the time. So I feel like we need to protect him, because he plays the best when he's in the pocket and he has time to come up with those crazy passes, like the deep post to Nico Collins and whatnot. So I feel like tackle is like a very necessary position. We saw Tunsil last year getting beat a lot of the time. He would have amazing games, but some games, like some of the matchups he had, especially like in the playoffs when he was with that little injury back and forth against the Browns, I feel like getting another tackle on there, somebody who's like as imposing as he is, this Patrick Paul guy, I feel like he's from the University of Houston. He would love to stay in the city and play for the Texans. So I feel like that wouldn't be the worst second option if TJ Tampa isn't there and maybe there's not a corner that we really like. I feel like offensive tackle would be pretty good. I also looked at a few guards. But I mean, you can get a lot of good guards like farther down in the draft. I want to see what Rios has to say as far as like secondary before we moved into D tackles and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So with this draft, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that go early, a lot of receivers that go early. So it's going to cause some of these corners to fall. And the guy that I think is possibly going to fall to like the bottom of the first round is Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama.
You think so?
He has a foot injury, so he might drop a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think based off like after the comp, I think the top rated prospects as far as corners go was Quinion Mitchell, and then Nate Wiggins, and then there was another one. What was his name?
Because I can see a few teams like taking a chance on him, even with the foot injury.
Yeah. And then
like the Cardinals need somebody like that.
So more or less, he's like the 4th or 5th rated corner. And now if he does fall, like say, so I have a scenario where the Texans actually do trade back into the first round. If he falls past pick 30, I can see them making the move to trade up and getting a guy like that, because he played in Alabama, so he has former teammates in Will Anderson, Christian Harris.
Who do you think would want to trade out of the first round with us though?
Well, so the teams that are picking after pick 30 is you got the 49ers, the Chiefs, and who's pick 30?
I know I had it pulled up too. Look how prepared we are. Look at us.
Very.
So it's the 49ers, we got the Broncos, the Patriots, the Cardinals, which I think the Cardinals would be in the market for a corner. And then we got the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Titans, Denver again, Washington, Packers, and then us. So there's a lot of teams ahead of us after that 30th
they need
pick.
corners, but they also
could use a corner.
So
to be fair.
Okay, that's a scenario I see that if he falls like past pick 30, I can see them traded back up, because pick 31, 32 is the Chiefs and the Niners, and they don't really have any holes as far as starting positions. So I can see them trading down to get some more draft picks, because it is a pretty deep draft. And with McKinstry, he is a very good cover corner. Even not necessarily the fastest guy, and he's not very tall. He's like he came in at the combine like at 5'11", 190. He's not the biggest guy, but he does have excellent cover skills. And that's something that we kind of lacked on the other side of the field, this past season. With Steven Nelson, there was a few blown coverages.
Yep.
And I think going younger with a younger corner, that's a little bit more. He has very good short area burst. He's not necessarily a burner, but he does have pretty good short area burst, and he's a great cover corner. And again, he comes from the Alabama defense.
Yeah. And if you have a very, very strong like defensive line who can actually put pressure on their quarterback, then the corners don't have to do that much work, because the quarterback doesn't have a lot of time to read the routes and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, honestly, the Kool-Aid McKinstry pick is a good one. I just didn't think he would fall, that far.
I don't think
that's
he's
the only reason
fall,
why I didn't pick him either.
unless we do trade into the first round. But I don't know who's gonna, or how much we would
Like I
have to
said,
give up for that.
well, if it's like after pick 30, we don't have to give up too much. I don't believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Like I
you do
said, there's
have
a lot of teams that they still need corners. So I
the
don't know.
Texans do have a
Yeah.
lot of picks this season. This draft.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of picks.
They
So
have this season and next season also, because next season they have I believe like 7 or 8 draft picks as well.
correct.
So they got some draft capital, and we've seen based off past drafts, Casera does like the wheel and deal, so it's a possibility he could trade back into the first round.
That
Yeah.
would be crazy.
But
That would be crazy.
But so I had two scenarios. So if they don't trade up and they stay pat at 42, a guy that I believe that they would also target to be the cornerback from Rutgers, Max Melton.
Max Melton, yeah, I saw that one too. Mm-hmm.
He definitely increased his draft stock after his pro day when he ran that 4.3.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about the same size as Kool-Aid McKinstry as well. Great cover corner, which again from what I've been reading, the Texans are going to try to play a little bit more man defense than last season. Last season they played a lot of zone. I think this season they're going to switch it up a little bit and play a little bit more man coverage. And with more man coverage, you're going to need two outside corners that can defend pretty well. And he would definitely fit the bill at that 42 spot.
If both of those guys are still up on the board at the 42 pick, would you go with Kool-Aid or?
I think they will go with Kool-Aid if he's still there at 42, just because of that Alabama connection.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay.
So coming up next, we are going to do our pick on the 59th pick for the Texans. So for me, it's definitely going to be defensive tackle position for me. Papi, where do you think at the 59th?
No, it has to be. And there's one guy that I hope. I do not think he's going to be there.
Mm-hmm. But you hope.
But I am hopeful.
Okay.
And I want to see if maybe we agree on that, like we did on TJ.
Sounds good. And Rios, what do you think?
His name is kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have butchered. So
yeah,
no, you're good. In advance.
You're good. And Rios, what do you think about that 59th pick?
Yeah, more than likely they're going to go defensive tackle as well at 59.
Okay. So I feel like we're all in unison about the defensive tackle position at the 59. All right. Yeah. Find out the names when we come back. All right, guys, welcome back. So here we are with the names. All started off. So one of the guys that I really hope is there, and I think you and I have the same one because this is one of the guys that I chose. For me, if he's still on the board from Clemson, Rook Ohorahora.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay. So that's the same guy that I saw that I'm like, hey.
Exactly. So
pretty good.
Yeah, Ohorahora is 6'4", weighs 294 pounds, wingspan of 79.5 inches. His 40-yard dash was 4.89
for a big guy, man.
For a guy that weighs 294 pounds. I could never.
Yeah, no, I could never.
I could never.
You could give me 10 years to train, and I still could never.
Yeah, I could never. I could give you a good 8-minute dash if you want, but that's what's happening. So one of the positives about Ohorahora is a good blend of the size. The strength and athleticism are very impressive. His get off speed and great acceleration as well from the line of scrimmage, and definitely gets a lot of penetration in the backfield. Takes some blocks. Good leverage and the upper body strength, and so he's really good. He's raised his draft stock a lot as well, and his runs with his feet and agility to avoid getting reached. Pass rusher, he's very impressive. Bull rusher with good hand placement as well. Now some negatives when working on the pass rush, other than just the bull rush, he's still kind of learning to use his hands or whatever. We'll get kicked inside double teams or whatnot. He doesn't anticipate, getting double teamed as well, so that's a bit of a issue. Also struggles a little bit to fight back against pressure under pressure, and then also just needs to be more like aggressive when getting off blocks or whatnot. That was my first pick or whatnot. If I'm the Texans, I'm picking Ohorahora. My second pick on this guy on this one was Did Rios just leave?
Oh, we lost him. We lost
He
him.
lost it. He didn't pay his bill. No. So the next one that I had on the list was Jashawn Newton. Okay, Jashawn Newton, um, from Illinois. So with him, his he weighs a little bit more than that. He's at 300. He weighs 10 pounds more than the Hora Hora. He's at 304 pounds. Wingspan of 75 and 7/8. Um, as far as they don't give me any info on the 40-yard dash or whatnot, but one of those positives that he has is he's active and quick hands as a pass rusher and works well with the offensive linemen as well. Impressive pull move to beat guards as a rusher. Good pass rush motor, coverage sacks. Strong physical or whatnot with his attack. He is the different. One of the things is he is a little bit more aggressive than the Hora Hora.
Yeah.
And he has, and has with great agility and can make tackles and to in the gap adjacent to his or whatnot. Negatives: apparently he's a little bit undersized for NFL defensive tackles, and has shorter arms. Um, Also has a little bit
How
of
tall is he?
trouble with double teams. One more time.
How tall is he? Did you say?
He is 6'2".
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And size also can cause him to have issues versus double teams or whatnot. So that's just some of the positives and the negatives about him. And finally, the last one that I chose, I don't think he would be on there, but I'm taking a risk on it. Braden Fisk, Florida State defensive lineman. He's 6'4", 292 pounds, a wingspan of 75 and 3/4. He ran a 4.78 dash. 40-yard dash, excuse me. Very athletic, impressive movement skills, quickness, very fast to get off the ball and get penetration or whatnot. Very good at the at just setting up pass rush moves or whatnot. Solid arms. He's very physical at the point of attack, which is great. So one of the negatives that he likes to one of the negatives of him is that he has a habit of standing out of his stance, which causes issues like with offensive linemen with good leverage or whatnot. Double teams can also be an issue with him as well. And the use of hands is a work in progress also. Everybody knows that if you're going to be a defensive lineman, using your hands is essential. Point blank, one of the things that made JJ Watt so great. He amazing, being able to spin moves, hand moves, all that.
Get off the block and
Get off the
chase
block.
quarterback.
How aggressive you can be. Now obviously not asking these guys to be the next JJ Watt. Hopefully,
I am asking them to be the
yeah,
next
you're
JJ Watt.
definitely
Well,
asking.
what's funny about that is on his scouting report, they said he did not use his hands. He didn't have it
That's
in
true.
the type of
That
pass
is
rush
true.
moves.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another thing. So these are all just basically scout reports that I'm reading off of a Bleacher Report as well. But apparently, he needs to develop a little bit of his upper body strength as well. So according to these reports, so that's my take on the first three. The first three that I picked as a defensive tackle. So Papi, go for it, man.
No, I feel like you nailed it with a horror. That's how you say it.
Yeah, so horror.
Okay. He seems like the perfect fit for what we need and for what D'Amico would want. Like a lot of flexibility on that player who can, play all over the D line. He's quick, he's big, huge wingspan. Every team coming out of every team, every player coming out of college is gonna need some type of coaching, some type of development. But with a young team like ours, I feel like all of these players are just growing together, making each other better. So I feel like it's like the perfect fit. We're not looking, like you said, for him to just be the a Hall of Famer right off the bat. But if he can be a difference maker on that defense, like I feel like the sky's the ceiling for him. So he is like my main target on the D line. I was looking at other positions just because I just like to go against the grain a little bit. There was another O line that I was looking at, Christian Haynes. If for whatever reason we don't decide to do D tackle, or if we trade our picks, I feel like Christian Haynes, like, it would be a good option as a guard, a little bit on the smaller side, but he's hefty, he's big. Like we just need like to protect, like I said, our quarterback as much as possible. That's why I'm so like dialed in into like the O line needs to get not reworked, but like definitely improved upon. Same with the defense, but as long as we can get the secondary up to par with some of the other teams in the league, I feel like we'll be just fine because we know that we can put up points. I just want the O line so they can protect the quarterback and improve the run game. Because last year, if Singletary wasn't making miracles out of nothing, like we were very one dimensional when it came to our offense. So I'm looking. Hopefully, somebody like Christian Haynes, 6'2", 317 pounds, like someone like that can only improve us moving forward offensively.
All right. Did you have another one?
Mm-mm.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
Sounds good. Okay, Rios, go for it, bud.
Yeah, I think you guys hit the nail on the head with the two defensive tackles that you guys mentioned, but there's a third one that I think is probably going to be available at 59. Michael Hall Jr. from Ohio State.
Yeah,
he's a he's a three technique defensive tackle, which they kind of need. A guy that can play all three downs. He is a bit undersized at 6'2", 290.
Right.
Feels weird saying that's undersized, but
yeah, how dare you?
Like you just described the refrigerator, but yeah, undersized.
Yeah.
Undersized. You're undersized.
But no, he had a very productive career at Ohio State. Former teammate of C.J. Stroud's as well. So he has a friend on the team already. He has first round talent. From the scouting report, he's had some off the field issues, which is it's causing him to fall out of the first round. So if you can get a guy like that with first round talent at pick 59, I think that's a major steal as far as filling an area of need. Now I went a different route at pick 59 if a defensive tackle is not available, because they still need to address the safety position. Because there was a lot of deep plays last season. Jalen Petrie plays better when he's closer to the box. When you're asking him to cover these deep shots, got a little bit exposed.
He gets exposed left and right.
That Cleveland game against Amari Cooper, we got torched for like 200 plus yards. A lot of those plays came on when he was covering Amari Cooper. So a safety that I think will be available at pick 59 is Cameron Kitchens from Miami, the University of Miami.
I'm not familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays free safety. He's a ball hawking free safety. So last season in 2022 he had 6 interceptions, 5 passes defense. So he's definitely good at tracking the ball and making plays on it, which was you didn't see a whole lot of that last season with the safety duo of Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie. Jimmy Ward mainly because he was injured a lot, and
I was about to say like he didn't see the field all that much.
Petrie is more of an in the box safety than a coverage safety or a ball hawking safety. So I think that'll fill a definite area of need because it's a passing league. It's going to be if you want to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs, the 49ers of the world, you got to be able to blanket the field.
Yeah,
the secondary.
Yeah,
because the secondary was one of the lowest ranked ones, defensively last season. They're like a bottom 20 as far as yards allowed, big plays allowed, passing touchdowns. So they definitely need to shore up that secondary. And that getting a ball hawking free safety will definitely check the box on that one.
Yeah. And like like you said, there's a lot of corners and there's a lot of tackles in this draft. So I feel like we're focusing on the second round right now, and the third round. But I'm sure like down the line, Nick Casares is going to find some gems, and I feel like we're going to walk out this draft unless something crazy happens. I feel like we're going to walk out this draft, I would say, very content with what we're going to see.
Yeah, Texas. Rios, to back up your statement, just to let you to back up your statement about the yards allowed. So Texans allowed 254.94 yards per game to opposing teams. Defensively as a whole, they allowed 5,622 yards in total defense in 2023.
Where does that rank us?
I'm not sure about the ranking, but I know it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't sound promising.
The last I saw, I want to say it was like 27 from 28 where they were ranked as far as the passing defense.
Oh, that's only like what, 30 teams?
32.
Yeah,
all.
32. We're only 28.
Yeah.
They were they were a top 10 unit at stopping the run, but it was they area of definite concern was at secondary.
1000%.
And I
Anybody
thought it
could see it. Anybody, if you wanted to beat
Uh,
the Texans, like all you have to do is just throw the ball.
so overall for
indeed.
defense, 17th in the league in 2023. Texans secondary is 19th in 2023.
Oh, it felt like a lot worse. I guess there were some games where Singletary or Petrie like actually performed, but
Mhm.
it was so inconsistent, especially
Yeah,
Petrie. It was so inconsistent that you could barely tell
yeah.
when they were having a really good game.
Well, they had him playing a little bit out of position because, like I mentioned earlier, he's not really a coverage safety. He is
Yeah,
better playing in the box.
but like you
Jimmy
said, it's
Ward
a
would be
passing league,
your
so
yeah.
it's something that
Right.
we gotta address. I feel
All
like
right.
Jimmy
corner would be
Ward
our
would
first pick.
be
Yeah.
more. Yeah,
So I think all the names that we gave out and the positional needs, I think we're kind of in line with it. But for sure, Texans fans will find out on day 2 or maybe even day 1 if they decide to trade up or something. You
That
never
would
know.
be crazy.
So it could be, there's a possibility it could be Wednesday, but the only way to find out is stay tuned. But other than that, that's gonna be us. That's gonna be it for us this week. We want to thank the great people at our Esquina
Yes,
and the our
sir.
Esquina podcast network for allowing us to be part of that podcast network and bring on the Blitz as one of our projects with our Esquina. So please follow our Esquina on X at our Esquina, just like how you see it there, and of course, follow them up on IG at our Esquina as well, just how you see it there, helping lift the voices of Latino media and sports players and all that. So thank you guys. And also, before we go, a big shout out to our friends who cover the Astros and a lot of the MLB stuff. Our good friends at Full
We'll
Steam
see
Ahead.
ahead. Yeah,
Thank you
love those
guys
guys.
so much. Can't wait to have you guys as a guest on our show soon. And that's gonna be it, boys, for the week. Great episode 1. What do you guys think? I liked it.
I liked it. I liked it.
yeah.
Good stuff. I'm
Please,
excited
more
for
of
this
this.
journey,
First of
guys.
many.
Yeah,
First of
first
many.
of many. All right, guys, that's gonna be it. Check us out next week. Same place, same channel. Follow us up as you can see on our X account at BBlitzPod, and of course, follow me on X at Carlos Talks 24. Follow Papi on his X account at Cardiel 3000, and of course, Rios at Rios
They can see it.
281.
Yeah, they can see it. They can see it.
Can
All right.
they?
Yeah, they can. Let's get out of here,
What if
guys.
it's audio, sir? What if it's audio? You ever thought of that?
Let's get out of
That's
here, guys. Let's get out of here. First
All right,
great
guys.
episode. Viva la raza!
All right, Eddie Guerrero. All right, guys, it's gonna be it. Peace.